Much out to the family, much out to the tribe. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Templar Up. I'm your host, the Templar Urban Reed, broadcasting behind enemy lines. We popping off, we keeping the fires burning, and the water's flowing. And I think it's about time, and we're ready to understand a little different what it means to pop off, what it means to be in battle time, what it means to keep the code. You know, there's a lot been going on, a lot of drop been coming out, and you know, it's been great because all I had to do was just simply fall back and observe, and it's great to see, you know, everybody getting it in across the plain. Wanting to send out a hi to yourself for popping it off each week, non-stop, a real one. Brother King for popping off that Pressure John investigation like never before, popping off that Calais loose, Natural by Law, K.R. Mayu, popping it off, Nine Spiral, what it do, popping it off. And you know, we you know, they're across the plain, man. There are multiple battlefronts, you know. But in the midst of things, there's something I want to kind of hit upon, if I may. Something that I kind of noticed. So today I want to ask you a question, right? How do you choose to live? You know, since the third wave, you know, we've been doing it for the prisoners. You know, we gotten the histories on how they've always been at war with the so-called Negro. They've been at war at war with you, you know, with me. You know, but how do you choose to live? Although that's a rhetorical question, you know, do not ignore what the answer reveals. You know, take a moment to kind of ponder the answers. You know, do you choose to live just to get by? You know, do you choose to live to just, you know, go along and get along? Do you choose to live to the fullest? You know, do you choose to live reserved? You know, saving for tomorrow. I mean, there's various possibilities for each show. There's various possibilities, but each shows a limitation. You know, looking for a standard. You know, thus the need to be water. You know, take a quick look at Daniel, for example. His history, myth, and legend are all similar, but they don't line up. You know, you got Daniel the man, right? The basic story in the book of his name. But then you have Daniel the title, you know, the basic story of his bloodline. Then you have Daniel the Exarch, the basic story of him by the people. And you get this a lot in the search for indigenous truth. You get this three different ways of looking at it, so to speak. But no matter the iteration, right, there's a sense of Daniel never wanting the throne, but acknowledgement as the son of David. The condensation of authorship of the given books in the Tanakh, reveals a more active and influential image of Daniel. We're coming to realize that who we think are different people are actually the same person with different names, with different titles, because the name and the title are one and the same, But there's more to it than that. And what we're going to dig on today is also how a name is also a mantle, And thirdly, are we talking about and looking at quote unquote lost house of Daniel ben David? And if so, what's been the impact of that? You got to remember, it was the Anan ben David flow that led to the complete re-examination of Daniel. And that's not uncommon. I would probably say since about, that Pressure John, around that Pressure John 20, the search for indigenous truth, as far as Pressure John is concerned, has been like, it kind of like took the forefront. It's like we've been digging on a lot of different things all throughout, but it's really when we took, for lack of a better term, took it serious and put it as the focus. Just as a food for thought, when digging on and speaking of Yosef, covering that Caesar Messiah, Daniel, is Daniel the John of Patmos who wrote a satirical work of his own book. A satirical work of his own work. Because you got to remember, the entire New Testament is a satirical book. Right? But we're only talking about Daniel. I think what I'm going to do here is start here that Daniel, let's fall back for a second, fall back a little bit. All right. Daniel, proper name for Hebrew, literally, God is my judge. Related to Dan, literally, he who judges. The name given to the tribe descended from Jacob's son of that name in the Old Testament. All right? The name given to the tribe descended from Jacob's son of that name in the Old Testament. Consistently in the top 15 names for boys born in the U.S. from 1972 through 2008. Okay? Now, why is that important? Because you need to understand who Daniel is. Now, we're gonna dig on Daniel chapter 2. And the reason why I want to dig on it is because I recently had a conversation, and Daniel chapter 2, this chapter came up. And the reason why it came up was because the way that the story was presented to me. And I had to stop and ask the question, like, who told you that? Who put that in your mind bone? How the chapter is perceived, as it were. Now, it states that in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Hide that. Then the king commanded the call of the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream. My spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldean to the king Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we shall show you the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of a certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldean answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that adds such thing in at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requires, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, that he would show the king the interpretation Then Daniel went into his house and made the thing known to Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that would desire mercies of God of heaven concerning the secrets that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then the secret was revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons, and removeth the kings, and setteth upon kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that knoweth understanding. He reveals the deep and the secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee, I praise thee, O God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of captives of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? And Daniel answered in the presence of the king, and said, The secret which the king has demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, show unto the king. Now, I take pause because Brother Nine Spiral was going in about them soothsayers. Right? But there's a God in heaven that reveals secrets and make known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Right? The latter days. Thy dream and visions of thy head upon the bed of these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he revealed secrets, maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes, that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know that the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. The image's head was head of fine gold, his breast and arms of silver, his belly, his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon the feet, where the iron and clay, and brake them into pieces. And then the iron and clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, the broken pieces together and became like chaff in the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain that filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and he will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings. The God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And whomsoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven have given unto thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art the head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strongest iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part potter's clay, part iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it the strength of iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes and the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And it is said, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to the other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Forasmuch as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake into pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The kings answered unto Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou hast revealed this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Now, what are we talking about? Daniel is of equal fitting as this head of gold.